So self-driving cars aren't a distant dream. They're happening right now, and Luminar Technologies LAZR is leading the charge with its cutting-edge LiDAR technology. We were at CES in Las Vegas, and I saw some of these huge breakthroughs in LiDAR tech, and that's set to transform the automotive industry. But here's the thing, with major automakers that are integrating Lumar's tech, this could put the stock on a verge of a massive breakout. So let's break it down here. Plus, don't forget, we got our St. Patrick's Day special discounts. If you click that second link below to join StockMate and watch me trade live every single day, you can just simply take a look. Don't miss out. Take a look here, LAZR. It looks a little shaky, as you can see. When I first saw the stock, I was very skeptical, right? Because look at this. Whoa, that's weird. Looks like it's just kind of selling off. Looks like a bad IPO. Well, same thing happens. I want to show you actually a company example of what that looks like if you just take a look at Robinhood, right? The software that we're using right now to analyze these stocks. One thing to consider if you take a look at Hood stock. Let's see, that's not the right stock. Hood stock. Just take a look like when they IPO'd. I think it was like the same. Look at that, same reaction. It went, oh my God, right here. And then they did some really good stuff. They started introducing more tech. They also, started expanding. I don't know if you saw, they surged their revenue with that thing where you could bet on which side was going to win, Biden or Trump. That was kind of cool. Anyway, that surged them up here, and you can see how their stock's been really grinding. So basically from those lows, we've seen it surge at one point up 850%. Now, I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen over here with this LiDAR company, but the reason that I say that is because it's not necessarily an indicator if you see a stock like this that you think, oh, I'll just discount it. Just keep that in mind. There's a lot of examples of notable companies that IPO and start like this, but now we see it kind of, consolidate left to right a little bit here, maybe find somewhat of a bottom. It looks kind of like that though. So you're like, is it actually? But here's the deal. If you take a look at the trend lines there, it's at a resistance. So yeah, maybe it gets rejected, but that's a key level to watch. Is it going to consolidate here, or is it going to bounce above? If it bounces above, that could be some more indication. Then you watch that level. Is it going to hold that previous resistance as a support? But here's the other thing. Because they're such a new, IPO, their market cap's at 220 million. So they're very small. And when you look at the financials, I was looking at the financials. This is where I was kind of like, oh, whoa, that's not too bad. Take a look at the last few quarters. The net income was pretty heavy, right? Because they're starting out. But just take a look year over year, the improvements in the revenue. So 20 million in that quarter, net income about 14%. You might say, wow, 20 million in a quarter. They got to have some contracts. Well, they have two offices, one in Orlando, Florida, one in Palo Alto. What other companies in Palo Alto? You got NVIDIA, right? You got Apple, okay? You got a lot of the biggest, Microsoft, or actually not Microsoft, but you have a lot of companies right there in Silicon Valley, so you got to watch out. Here is the deal. Google, that's one. And that means they could have some backing, right? But not only that, let's take a look. Their revenue is increasing year over year. They sunk revenue a tad bit in that last earnings that they reported. Net income is down. But here's the deal. They have earnings tomorrow. So if you take a look inside of StockMate here, StockMate is where we go trade live every single day. We also have this community, like-minded traders and investors. And I have some price targets here along with the earnings for this week. So if you ever want to see the earnings, it's that second link below, StockMate. This is what it looks like inside of Thursday after hours. That's today. You got Micron Technology there reporting earnings, and we also got Luminar, so LAZR. So here's where this could play into their stock. I had some targets for this. Okay, I'm thinking we could see a $6.50 to $8. That's what I projected at the beginning of the week. Right now, it's already at $6.50 to $8. So actually, my projection was when it was at $5, and I'm saying I think this could get up to $8, $6.50 to $8. See that I kind of map out the chart analysis, recent news, And we were talking about same levels that we're talking about right now, essentially. And it did surge this week. We do see it drive up, and we do see it at $6.50 right now. And so the next level we're saying is like, hey, this $8 range it could run to. You could see it's down 10% today. So that's kind of indication that maybe we have some pricing in, maybe we have some equilibrium opportunity if they have good earnings come out after hours, that would play really key for a quick bounce and a V-shaped trade on LAZR. Now, I don't trade oftentimes right at earnings because I find it to be very risky. It is risky. And you got to know one thing, if you're going to trade, at least on Robinhood, maybe you're on Webull, maybe you're on something else, but if you're trading, make sure, at least, this is what I would do, that you're able to trade after hours. Some people get confused about this. They place an order and they're like, I can't get out or I can't buy when they're in after hours trading or pre-market. With Robinhood, it's important to know you can, but you could do it, but you have to use whole shares, not fractions of a share. So whole shares, and you have to set a limit order at a price that will get executed. So if you do a market order and it goes down, or let's say it keeps going up or something, and the market's not at that price after you set the order, but you do whole shares, it won't execute. But if you do a limit that makes sense and it will execute, but you don't do whole shares, it won't execute. And also, you want to make sure it will execute. So make sure that you use whole shares and a limit price that will get executed if you're trading after hours. I just let you guys know that because there's extra risk. You should at least know that if you're going to trade it ahead of that. Why would you trade it? Also, we've got into these technicals, the earnings, it seems exciting. LAZR, Luminar Technologies. Well, let's take a look at their company really quick. You can go over to Luminar Technologies, and first seatbelts, then airbags, now Luminar. So they have this LiDAR scanner technology. It's the world's first and only high-performing LiDAR technology to be included as standard on global production vehicle, the Volvo EX90. In March 2025, Volvo Cars unveiled the second vehicle in their lineup to feature Luminar technology, the Volvo ES90. Now, here's the other thing. Save over $1 million or 1 million lives per year. And there was a test where they and I saw this stuff at CES, like this exact simulation. I have some video from our videos that we did at CES in Las Vegas. But essentially, they did a test where they took Luminar tech and then they put it against Tesla. Tesla, it drove through a photo of a road because Teslas operate on camera technology. So it drove through a photo of the road. So it could be a wall painted as the continuation of the road, and the Tesla will drive through because the AI will be fooled by the cameras that it looks like, oh yeah, that's a road. Whereas the Luminar tech, it actually uses LiDAR, so it's gonna literally scan, and it won't even it could use cameras. It shows the camera, but it ultimately operates from LiDAR tech. So it's pretty small, just like that. It goes on top of the car. And you can see they got Volvo there, Polestar, so not a massive company, but they're there. Kodiak, so this is a autonomous trucks. That's a big deal. Nissan, partnered together since 2022. So they're with Nissan. And just those alone are pretty big partnerships. They're in trucking, logistics, industrial, and mobility, as well as smart cities, defense, and aerospace. They're even in aerospace, which is cool. So looking at all these things, you look at the company, check out their solutions, their tech. You can also see how their LiDAR performs. I find it to be really beautiful. See some of the tech inside. That's a really cool animation there. You can see inside what that looks like. Some quantum processing potentially. Let's see, single 550 nm fiber laser that enables long ranges with 1 million x pulse energy. It doesn't let me go any further. Oh, it does. Wow. It's like scanning. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You come out. I like that. That's a really cool animation. Pretty gorgeous. Yeah, so that's kind of how it works. We saw this at CES. It goes on, looks like that. Now, adaptive scan patterns, you can see how it works. They had one in CES as well, and I was like standing next to it, and I could see myself, and it was pretty cool. Like I could see myself on the camera, and I looked like a perfect outline. Um, and it looks like they not only have really good tech, they have excellent marketing. And when you look at the company, right? So it's at this kind of resistance, selling off a little bit. They got their earnings coming up. If they have positive earnings, and some of those partnerships to me make sense. I don't know what their contract prices are with these big companies because it's kind of a small tech solution. But when you look at I don't know, let's see updates. Here's some updates, some articles potentially. Um, they just got in March this Volvo contract. Do they outline the amount of money that it was? It doesn't look like it. It's just a partnership there. And we're proud to be selected in conjunction with industry leaders like NVIDIA for a second global automotive. I believe they're backed by NVIDIA. So that's interesting too. LAZR. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. So we're still in the news fundamental phase here. And if you take a look at NASDAQ, we could get a good look at the institutional holdings, and that will give us a look into who's buying. BlackRock is one of the big investors here. They got about 13 million. So BlackRock is there. Vanguard is there. They recently sold some shares, but they're in it since end of 2024. State Street, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. And just to like preface, that's a big industry that they're tackling. And their market cap is at, let me just verify. What did we say their market cap was? Their market cap's at 220 million. Yeah. And apparently there's new LiDAR technology. Maybe it's being put in the Tesla now. But this was the NASA scientist Mark Rober who test drove, and it outperformed Tesla. So that's what we were talking about earlier. There's the video. And so now we're starting to see their stock get some attention. I could see them do well. The economy, again, some news there. It's doing fairly good because there's no interest rate hikes. That was actually talk. We were saying no interest rate cuts this year, and investors were upset like, oh, there's not going to be one every single meeting. Dang it. But then there was talk after the recent pullback with tariffs where they're like, are there going to be like a hike? That was in talk. Luckily, no hikes or anything like that. So anyway, with this recent sell-off and then the earnings coming up, potential there for LAZR, we'll be watching it closely and seeing if any opportunities present themselves. If you guys want to watch me trade live, it's the second link below. If you want to join us every day there at Market Open. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button, comment your thoughts below, and do consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.